Hola comunidad, bienvenidos un día más. Hoy nos encontramos junto a Tekmen. Tekmen, comunidad Hola Cripto. ¿Por qué hemos llegado hasta aquí? Hola Tekmen, ¿quieres decir algo a nuestra comunidad?
I guess it's like a Spanish introduction, but I start English if it's okay for you.
It's okay.
So, I love to speak Spanish, but I have to go with English. As Colendi, we are trying to solve a very big problem in most of the emerging markets. We are trying to decentralize the credit scoring and microcredit protocol. And as Colendi is becoming alpha product today, we have an identity for Colendi ID with your attributes and the attestations that you can add on to your Colendi ID. We will create a Colendi credit score for you. And this becomes a full stack microcredit protocol right afterwards. So what we want to establish here is trying to give everyone a financial accessibility. We are talking about 50% of the world are unbanked, underbanked. We are talking about around 2.5 billion people. And for the last decade, we were in this fintech ecosystem and we played a lot of interesting games here. My latest company was a transactional banking company, which we reached around 2.5 million accounts, and we know what they need on that part. But as a startup, Colendi started 2 years ago on a very brief and definitely to the point structure, which we created today for any person to onboard a decentralized app with their own self-sovereign identity. They can create a credit score and then give any kind of merchant, borrower, and lender a platform for kind of transaction. And this trust machine gives us ability to interact with borrower, lender, and merchants. And Colendi becomes an alpha product today. We have around 10,000 guys. Hopefully, with the support of community, we will reach 100,000 soon.
Let me wrap up, because I think it's very detailed. It is very difficult to have such amount of detail in an interview, but thank you for that. But to wrap up in something that you basically, what you are doing that the rest of the people are not doing, is to put or to link the credit cards with the blockchain financial accounting. Is that right?
It's a very brief explanation on that part. What we want to establish is this is like the banking requirements or any kind of financial access requirements on blockchain. And to do these, you have to have a credit score on that part. And
sure,
identity and credit score are the most important pillars that Colendi has. And through these two items, you will have definitely a microcredit or installment shopping or any kind of merchants can sell you anything with a capability of like everything on that part.
You know, because our community is always looking for new ways to do things, helping blockchains. We all know that most of the people currently having cryptos. I mean, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and so on. But most of the time, at the moment that we want to pay something with that cryptos, we have a lot of, a lot of things that we don't go to a shop and use the cryptos.
This is like a real life experience, right? We do not still buy a McDonald's Big Mac with Ethereum or anything else. But as a matter of fact, hopefully with right partnership, like today, we're trying to make this a real life experience on this one. With your identity and credit score, we will have a merchant marketplace which you can definitely stake your crypto coins or crypto assets and then use your any kind of fiat currency to take any kind of product to a merchant in our ecosystem. And this is like gonna be an open architecture and open source platform that any developer in any country like in Latin America or Asia can use us as their loyalty as a credit score, or like us, get us involved to their application and give installment shopping to any potential borrower. So this is our ambition.
Wow, but this definitely is very interesting because your ambition is to reach even longer than the current banking system. I mean, you want to reach parts of the landing, where you can find farmers, you can find cows, but you cannot find credit cards, you cannot find a banking assistant.
we believe that banking is necessary, but banks are not. So we try to establish an environment without this like centralized mechanisms. Or as a matter of fact, you have a spare amount of money that you put on an interest on a bank account. And I, as a borrower, want to get a credit from bank, or this merchant wants to sell their products with an installment shopping opportunity. So they have a POS device. So everyone is depending on this trust through one entity. What we believe this is the, I guess, most important thing that blockchain enables us to deliver. And with incentives and punishments that we said before, as a borrower, if I have enough forged friends who can stake for me, I might have a better credit score than anyone else. But with this capability, or with like everything for the last 500 years, banks were depending on this risk assessment systems, and this is like character, capacity, or collateral kind of stuff. So or conditional capital. These are the things that they look on drill down. But we have enormous amount of data that we create through these mobile things.
Well, then probably as I feel from your explanation is that you can create a score that's even more fair that the current banking system can use today.
As a matter of fact, banks or any kind of financial institution just look at your financial data for the last couple of months or the last couple of years. So at the end of the day, they look only financially to you. I have own any kind of, I have a 18-year-old daughter, so she doesn't gonna have a chance to go to a bank branch, or I'm pretty sure about that.
No.
So these digital natives or any kind of new generation will need digital solutions through that. And believe me, we create much more than data, like your location, your friends, what you use on your application.
Sure.
These data belongs to you, not to anyone, not a centralized server, like not any kind of a credit score bureau, or not like a bank. You own your data on the blockchain, and you own your score on the blockchain. So if you want to share it with a merchant, that's the place that we want to put or position Colendi to become.
Definitely. There's a lot of stuff that we can start talking for hours with you. I would love to, but our audience maybe they won't, and because we were talking before, and I can guarantee that out of the camera, this guy is a passionate guy. I can guarantee. Now, then what will be the goal that make you more happy with this company? To reach what? To reach, it's like reach all the world, all the people using Colendi, or the Colendi was like kind of northern star to follow in this blockchain financial world?
Actually, the idea behind this is like we are trying to become a community of people who wants to solve a financial inclusion problem. And this can't be done with me or my passion or my team's technical capability. It has to be built up on trust and with the community's power. This is why we are trying to explain ourselves to anyone that bothers to come by and ask what are we doing. So this is why we want to establish a worldwide network of people who can support each other through these credit scores, these IDs, and this platform or this protocol. And this is why we want to reach around 100 million people in the next couple of years. Why not a billion users? We don't want to become a $1 billion company for the first day. We want to become a billion user company.
Repeat that sentence.
So we don't want to become $1 billion company. We want to become a billion user company on this issue.
I love it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, because I think that's the best for closing this. Remember, audiencia, lo que quieren es que las utilicemos, que utilicemos las tarjetas de crédito y que las conectemos con el mundo cripto. Y que además poseamos nuestro score bancario, que nosotros podamos hacer nuestra propia comunidad para tener crédito y para poder, en definitiva, llevar nuestros proyectos adelante. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for
very
this
much.
interview. I want to speak with you again
Whenever you
with
want.
all the questions from our community.
Pleasure.
Are you agree?
Definitely. Whenever you want.
Deal.
Deal, man.